Yo, what's good, man? Sideline Story Podcast. This is the SideQuest with B8Mill episode 5. Go ahead, BA, man. Whatever you got to say, go ahead, bro. Get your work out, man.
Man, I want to say I appreciate you for having me on, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate the invite as always. But before we get into serious matters, there's some things that we gotta address. Now, you had one job, man. You just had one job, man. All you had to do was stop themselves from winning another championship. You know I'm a Lakers fan, man. You can't be having no Celtics having more rings than us now, man. I put a lot of the series kind of went the way I thought it was gonna go. But I thought y'all could just get him, man. Just go ahead and get him out of there for me. And you had the nerve to send me a Kobe gift. It said the job is not finished. I was like, I know this man didn't just send me no damn Kobe gift. Talk about the job is finished, like getting to the finals is what y'all do. Like y'all just wake up in the morning and just get out of bed and just be in the finals, man. Then when y'all get there, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. Also more of like a little analytical thing that I noticed. Well, like some of the stuff that happened in the game that I had noticed. This was probably like game 2 or 3. I seen Tatum on Doncic probably like early in the first quarter. Man, Doncic just shot a 3 right over his ass. I don't think I seen none of the top 4 defenders on Luka for the rest of the night. They kind of just left Hauser and Peyton Pritchard on him for a good part of the show. It looked like it was like, well, if he's gonna get 30, he might as well just get 30 on them, because he's probably gonna go for 30 anyway. So it was like a good stretch where they wasn't even really using no primary defenders on him. They had all the other defenders on out on the wing, so he basically had nobody to pass it to, even if he wanted to pass. So I kind of found out. I thought that was a little audacious for them to do that. Like that kind of a little bit of audacity for them to, not even have most of it. But that was only for like that whatever stretch that I had seen within like game 2 or 3. But it looked like in order for y'all to win, Luka was gonna have to like be like worldly, like 40 a night. Kyrie didn't help, but they wasn't gonna let Kyrie do much like over the course of. Boston got it out for him. Like they had to prove a point to him. They had to prove that they can win and they can beat him. So I expected them to kind of shut down Kyrie the way that they did, but it was a valiant effort though, nonetheless. I guess the job ain't finished. You know what I'm saying? It really ain't finished because y'all didn't get to do what y'all was gonna set out to do. But y'all in the mix now. It's a nice little mix over there in the West now, and y'all in that mix. But y'all was the 6th seed though. So that just kind of show you. Y'all was 5 seed. That kind of show you. Some of the other higher tier teams. I had a rough run to get there too. I beat some pretty good teams though, but that's gonna be a dogfight next year in that West. Those top 4, that Dallas, that OKC, that Minnesota, and
Denver.
one more. I'm missing one more. So
Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, those 4 right there. That's gonna be a tough one though, man. But I'm not gonna stand to you too much though. But I would have appreciated if you would have just handled that for me.
I sent that Kobe gift before the finals because you was already congratulating.
Yeah, you did. You said I ain't have much to say. I was just.
But it's not the job wasn't done though. Like the job wasn't done.
The job not finished. Like God,
the job not done. We had to. What I noticed while I was telling Corey, what I noticed, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. After game 1, reality set in after game 2. After game 1, I noticed Kyrie and Luka, they're gonna have to combine for 60 for us to get some work off in the series. And it really didn't. I think it took place maybe one game, something like that, like one game. Game 3, Luka fouled out with like 4 minutes left to go. We don't know how to. It's very possible that series could have been 2-2 going back to Boston for game 5. It's just a what if. But all credit to the champs. They did their thing. It was a lackluster series, definitely. But I'm glad that the city has something to be grateful about though. But moving on though, we got some. We gotta get back into what we do. We've been absent for a while, so let's get back to what we do. So with Golden State, I've been thinking and I've been hearing like a lot of content, and shout out to the Locked On Warriors podcast. I forgot a name. I'm so sorry I forgot a name, but I've been listening to her to get some of the feel that's going around in the Bay Area. And what it seems like over the past couple of years is like they kind of been pump faking, not with a rebuild, but with like moving on from like the core. We know that Draymond, Clay, and Steph Curry. We know Steph Curry isn't going nowhere because that's the championship window. But with Draymond Green, it was like before last season, it was could Draymond be on the move? You know, I even heard of some rumors it could be like Ben Simmons, Draymond, and Dame in Portland. That didn't last long, but we saw that they would kind of fall apart in negotiations. Then next thing you know, Draymond, I think he took a little less. It was like 4 years, 100 mil, and I guess they lined it up to when Curry deal ends, and they kind of want Clay to take 2 years. I think Clay want 3 years. So what I'm thinking is they want all of these deals to expire at the same time so they could usher in a new era. So what I want to talk about Clay because this is like everything surrounding him as far as this team is concerned. I can't see him leaving. Me personally, I can't see him leaving the team. But I feel like they do have some hesitancy as far as like letting them go. Maybe Mike Dunleavy doesn't care. Maybe he'll just say, I gotta do what I do. I gotta do what I gotta do that's best for the team. What's your take on that right now?
Well, for me, I think he gonna stay. Would I be surprised if he left? No, I wouldn't be surprised if he left. But I don't think Clay is a problem. I think they got other issues with the team. I know I was when I had messaged you about it. That's one of the things I was kind of alluding to. I think Chris Paul and Wiggins is far bigger issues than Klay Thompson is. Wiggins had that good run. You know, he helped them win the ring.
2022.
Yeah, he had some personal happen. He left for some months and he ain't really been the same since. I think his his contract is a bigger problem. You know, and Chris Paul really don't got no place there. I see why they brought him in. You know, they want to get rid of Paul by any means necessary, but his contract is kind of sitting on the team too. So for me, it's not so much Clay being the issue. I feel like you can still get Clay. Like what you were saying about the 2-year contract. For what I was hearing too, like well, for most what I was reading, it looked like that's like a league wide thing. Like that ain't really gonna be just a Warriors thing. You know, I think I was reading like a lot of teams is sort of this league in general. They're looking to give a lot of the veteran players more or less like 2-year deals instead of them 3-year deals, which makes sense. You know, I feel like Clay is still young enough so he don't fall into that category. Where, like if you want to give him a 3-year deal. Well, Clay is what, 32?
33.
33 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, give him 3 years. He's going to get a lot of money regardless. You know, if it's going to take an extra year, I understand if you want to do 4 or 5 years, then I'm like, I don't think that would be the good move. But if it's going to separate with just a year, to me, it's not a big deal. The 1 year, like from 2 to 3 years, to me, it's not that big of a deal. To me, it might be more or less like the dollar amount than the years, but. I just think they got other problems. They need to get some size. They need to clear them other 2 ineffective players on their team, or players that really don't fit anymore. I mean, Wiggins could still bounce back, but for what you're paying them, you gotta move something to the team because as currently constructed, they can't win. They barely a playoff team, so you gotta do something. To me, you clear out them 2 if you can and see what you bring back from new 2. Because I think if they lose Clay. I think you really do hit the reset button at that point. So at that point, I don't know how much time they got with Curry, you know. So I think they should hold on to Clay and look at some of the other pieces on their team to kind of move.
So with the roster currently constructed, I guess Boston would be like the measuring point because, like I was telling Corey, shout out to him. This isn't the same team that they played in 2022. Way more mature. They added a few pieces. Porzingis, we got Derek White. I think Derek White was there. Derek White was there, right?
I'm gonna say no.
I can't remember if he was there. I don't think so, but I know for sure Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis weren't present at the time. So, if I'm a team and I'm looking at my roster, can we beat them or a team like Denver? You know, that has to be like the measuring point. So with this Warriors team, I'm hearing some players that are rumored that could be on the move there. Players like Jimmy Butler, who I've heard. I think that was like last week's rumor that was kind of being spread around the league. And as of recent, I'm hearing like Zach LaVine. I want to kind of go back to what you were saying about like some of the energy that's being put as far as like giving these older guys like a couple of years. The only play I'm hearing that could get long-term money is like Paul George, because I think Philly is ready to offer him like the max. And I think the reason for that is because a lot of these veteran players, nobody's really like 32, 31. Everybody's like 33, 34 and up. You know, that could be why. But how you feel about Jimmy with Golden State? I feel like Jimmy is 34 now. He's been kind of banged up, especially like this last season. He had some injury scares, and I think that could be that could be a cause for concern, especially with this Golden State team, because you'll never know what they have to give up. I know they have to be one of the highest paying tax teams in the league.
Absolutely.
If Klay signs a deal like a max, or like not like a max deal, but some significant money, they have to be like a second April team, right?
Absolutely. They're trying not to be they're trying to get under that tax. I guess get under that second apron.
Under that second apron. So for people that might not know, correct me if I'm wrong, you got your salary cap, you have your luxury tax, you have your first apron and your second apron. And from my knowledge, a lot of teams operate from the luxury tax and like the first apron. I think that's where a lot of teams reside. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on that. But so like the second apron is like teams like Boston. Boston should be a second apron team, right?
Yeah, with those caps, with the
Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum finna get some crazy money, Kristaps, but they just won a championship, so they could justify it. Golden State, they high in the luxury and they didn't make it out the play-in. So at this point, it's like, what do? They need to trim some of the fat around the roster. And like you said, Chris Paul, Andrew Wiggins, they will be odd man out. But back to the Jimmy, but I know we kind of got on the side quest there, no pun intended. But how you feel about like Jimmy with this roster?
I think that would be a good fit. If you're saying you're going, if you can swap out Chris Paul and Wiggins for Jimmy Butler, I think I like that. I mean, they still got to get some size too. I think they need a big at some point. They got to have some type of size. Jokic ain't invisible. Apparently to them, he might be, but that small ball, we ain't gonna just have Draymond consistently guarding Jokic. I mean, it was cute a couple years ago, but you got to get some type of size. He probably gonna shred him anyway, but still, you gotta put some type of front up there. So I do like the Jimmy Butler move. You give him some defense. You get them some crazy toughness. You get him a lot of experience. Jimmy's a dog. I think he fit in a lot better. He took some pressure off of Curry. He can do some stuff in the games. Maybe he can stay a little bit more healthier, so less wear and tear on his body. Not actually do much with Curry and potentially who else is on the roster. Still got Kuminga coming along too. He could kind of shoulder some of that offensive load, so even Jimmy's not even expected to do so much. But I like that move. I feel like between Pat Riley and Jimmy, they might have enough ego to where they would go their separate ways. Even though I'm pretty sure they would. Jimmy wouldn't mind staying in Miami, but Pat Riley probably got a price and amount of years, and who knows? Jimmy could be thinking he can get more somewhere else. So I could see him going to Golden State, and I think that could be a good move for them.
Now with the other name, Zach LaVine, I like Zach LaVine. I don't know what the timetable is with the foot injury that he suffered this season, but I like Zach LaVine in the aspect of he's a bit younger. He's 29 years old. He's way more athletic. He's what I like to call a professional NBA scorer. I feel like he's a 3-level scorer. He can catch and shoot, whether people know it or not, because in Chicago, he was like a main option on offense. So you probably didn't see a lot of sets where they gave him the opportunity to catch and shoot. But in Golden State, with so much motion, I feel like he'll have ample opportunity. I think he can play off the ball. He'll be good in transition. I think he fits into a lot of what Golden State likes to do. It's just a matter of what it will take to get a Zach LaVine. I would think Chris Paul. Well, I heard actually a Chris Paul and a Moses Moody could be on the go for a player like Zach LaVine. I don't know if he's due to get new money. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I like that fit a lot better. What you think about Zach LaVine in Golden State?
I like Jimmy Butler's fit better.
You like Jimmy? Okay.
Yeah, I like Jimmy better. The fit better. Zach LaVine, I like Zach LaVine. I feel like they need another more of like an urgency. I think he is great offensively, but I'm not saying Zach LaVine ain't like championship material. But if I'm trying to win like next year, I want to pull for Jimmy. He got the playoff experience. He just comes with a lot more than Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, one of my favorite players in the league, but he kind of looked like more like maybe a Jamal Crawford, a Lou Williams player that's kind of maybe just out there to kind of put up buckets, but maybe they don't do enough to help you kind of win. So I wouldn't hate it if they ended up with Zach, but I definitely prefer to Jimmy Butler.
Even though Jimmy doesn't have a championship, I feel like he has championship DNA. It just feels like he won before, even though he hasn't necessarily won. He's been to the highest level. He just haven't, he hasn't.
He's been doing it by himself. It look like.
Yeah, it felt like he does have championship DNA. I like Jimmy with Golden State. I just feel like they'll be adding another older player. Respect to Jimmy, he's 34 now. He's kind of up there.
Yeah,
I like the youth just a little bit more. Mm-hmm. But you never know though. Jimmy may get in Golden State and he could have a good bill of health. What I was telling, shout out to Shamari, I was telling her yesterday, in the Western Conference next season, I feel like health is going to be a huge factor, which it is every single season. But this next season in particular, I think the West is going to be a dogfight. And one team could be one injury away from falling multiple slots down the Western Conference. How do you feel? How do you think they stack up against the rest of the West? I feel like it's not good. Yeah, I don't think it's good.
I think they got to do like a major move, like to be able to compete, like getting like somebody like a Jimmy or like a Zach LaVine. They got to make major moves. Like the way the team is, they can compete with those top 4 teams. Like you're gonna lose to one of them because you probably can't beat any of them.
I like Lauri Markkanen with them too.
Yeah, see, that's like a move like that. Get it like a big man. They need to make like major moves. Like they can't just like add a piece and remove a piece and be all right. They're not like right there. They're not. They fall off pace.
They have to do something drastic, basically.
Yeah, something drastic. So for me, I don't look at them as being a real competitor unless they make like a drastic move. But you can't make drastic moves and cut salaries. So I don't know which one they looking at doing. Maybe the one got to give. Either you gonna compete, but if you're gonna be competing for a championship, it got to be like within a year or two. You got to be doing moves to bring in big talent or big players and taking out and removing players that ain't been working for you. So I don't really see them as being competitive. How old is Curry? Curry is what, 34, 35?
I want to say Curry turned 36 next March. I could be wrong. But that's the timeline. However long he's playing at a championship level, that's your timeline. That's what they're working with.
And that's looking good for maybe. I mean, he is a shooter, so he going.
I take that back. He turns 37 next March.
He turned 37 next March. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. I just don't see them putting a team together with enough. I'm talking about, like, for me, like a major piece for them, they would have to be getting like a Brandon Ingram, Paul George, like the next tier, because you got Zach LaVine and Jimmy on one tier, but I think
Paul George is the most coveted player in this class of free agents,
and I don't think Paul George is going anywhere. So I think he's staying. No, I don't really think. I don't see him. It looks like he want to be in LA.
Okay,
I don't see him coming out of the Clippers, leaving the Clippers.
I guess it will be in our DNA to go on the SideQuest.
Yeah.
Real quick, what would be the reason? Because so this is what I'm hearing basically. Kawhi signed 3 years, 150.
I don't know for what, but yeah.
I mean, you going into a new arena. Steve Ballmer had to. He kind of. I get why he would have to. I get the politics behind it. And Kawhi is dope though. When he's on the court, it's undeniable. But if I'm Paul George, I don't know if he wants more money. Like I said, Philly is ready to offer him probably 4 years, $200 million at 34 years old. Philly is desperate.
That's why I think he should go.
That's the fit. I think. I'm being biased. Dallas, Golden State, Philly, New York. I think those are 4 teams that Paul George could just plug and play. That's just my opinion. But I think Golden State and Philly are the best fits. I think Philly is an amazing fit. You're the third option because Maxey is only ascending. Joel Embiid is who he is, one of the most dominant big men in the league today. And all of the pressure won't be on Paul George. You could just kind of coast some nights. You could coast your way to 17, 18 points a game. You know, for what somebody phrased it earlier, it would be a more expensive Tobias Harris. So what you think on Paul George's outlook?
Now Paul George is he's way better than Tobias Harris.
Oh, I agree. I just said that was just what I heard today. That's what I heard today.
He's Paul George. Over the years, Paul George. See, I guess maybe I got a little bias from Paul because I done seen Paul George since Fresno. He went to Fresno, so
we watched this session, yeah.
Paul George and Danny Granger. That was one of my little top dudes. So I've been watching. I saw Paul George when he made that big growth spurt. I saw him turn into. I like those kind of players that kind of start off as defenders, but then they offense kind of get going. Kind of like saying with Kawhi, saying they're kind of like the same type of player, defense first players who develop offensive skills over time. So
exactly.
Yeah, but I think a Philly fit would be if he was to move. Like I said, I don't think he's gonna leave LA, leave the Clippers, leave Ballmer. That would be tough for him to do. I do think he got a bit of a loyalty towards to Kawhi too. I think he got a lot of respect for Kawhi. But as far as fit goes, if you want to be able to win, I think the Philly move because he fits right in. They could move out whether you're moving out either Oubre or Tobias, one of them probably be out of there. He'd fit right in.
So the thing is, like, I understand why you say he has like a loyalty to Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard, but the thing is, Steve Ballmer can't justify paying a high luxury tax for that team because remember, and all of this, James Harden has to get a contract too, and he's going to get some significant money. So it's like this will be year 6 of Kawhi and Paul George. So last year, Kawhi wasn't really healthy at all, and they got bounced in the first round. I understand you have this new arena in Inglewood that you have to go into. You have to go in there with something. You can't go in there rebuilding. But can you talk yourself into paying Kawhi 3 years, 150? You give Paul George probably the same deal if he stays or close to it, just hypothetically speaking, and you give James Harden significant money. Can you talk yourself into that for the foreseeable future, knowing that the West is going to be a dogfight? And like I said with Shamaria yesterday, we can't forget about the Grizzlies. They'll be back and we have something to say about this tough Western Conference too. So it's like next year from the 4th seed, they could be like the 8th seed potentially next year. It's possible.
But but Ballmer is a newer owner, so he ain't been through the 10, 20 years of losing and this not working and swapping out this player and that player. I mean, Clippers has been in the basement for how long? Now they got how many notable Hall of Famers on their team at one time?
Right.
He'll go through this run. If he's gonna be the owner for 20 or 30 years, he in the beginning, like he in the spending money phase. This is trying it, not working out. I mean, he only been at it for what, 3 or 4 years. He ain't had enough time to lose a bunch of money, and he seemed like he's still enthusiastic about the process and the team. So I don't think he mind, spending the money and paying it. Looks like he's trying to, he's trying to compete with the other LA team. He's trying to get them tickets. So I think he'll look at it from like that point of view, since he's still new and fresh. If he was like a older owner or like an older GM who done been around and done took losses and made big trades when things didn't work, they might be a little quicker to react, but I think he more or less real enthusiastic about the team and having like a Kawhi, having Paul George, and got a good coach. They just signed Tyronn Lue. You want to keep him happy with good players. So I think from a Ballmer perspective, I don't think he would look that far into it like maybe some of the veteran GMs or veteran owners would.
I think reality gonna hit real fast though. I will say that.
You could definitely be right.
Reality, because I feel like even though he's a new owner, you could just see him oozing with like competitiveness. He has a competitive nature to himself. You could just see it when he's on the sideline. He just he's just so into the game. But I feel like in this game that we love, in basketball and sports, period, reality hits you fast because respectfully, Kawhi could easily have another injury-riddled season. Paul George could get hurt again, and James Harden could just coast through the season, and Westbrook production can just keep going down. Respectfully, just is on the decline at this point. And you looking back, and it's like, dang, we went from the 4th seed last year. We like in the 10th spot now. Like reality can't hit. I feel like he has to do it, but it's just gonna be hard for me to talk myself personally into another season of if they could just get healthy, they can contend. I'm kind of out on the Clippers, but before we get off, it's been some good stuff. Just for the sake of some content, you're an LA fan. I want you to talk about the JJ Redick hire. Me myself, I'm all in on JJ, man. I'm gonna support JJ. I rock with it. I think it's dope. I can't wait to see what comes of this. So, give me your initial thoughts from when you heard the breaking news and like having time to think about it. How you feel now?
Well, for me, I didn't have too much of an opinion. I was kind of neutral on it. You know, the Lakers with their coaches, it's been like a lot of turnover. Am I mad he was a coach? No. It wasn't like it was a lot of great options. I thought I did like the Dan Hurley thing. I definitely thought that it might have been cool too. But I guess JJ fit that my whole mentality of maybe something different. Dan Hurley would have been different, college coach. So now we're gonna get a coach that I never coached before, but I don't mind it too much. You know, he probably could be good long term. I don't think he'll be like how Steve Nash was,
Right.
but he just had the wrong type of coaching, the wrong type of players at the time. Like he just had some rough players to coach with KD and Kyrie, and I don't think it's the same situation in LA. I think LeBron and AD a lot more mature. I think they'll give him a chance. You know, I think they. I don't know for how long they time him for. Maybe 4 or 5 years or whatever the deal may be. But I think he'll be able to see that out, and I think he will have some type of success. You gotta try something different. I mean, a lot of times you just see the coaches just get recycled over and over again. You know, so for me, I thought it was cool to get a nice little somebody new in the mix. Yeah, he got no coaching experience, but man, stranger things done happen in the league and in the world, man. So hey, man, I'll be pushing for him. You know, I ain't too crazy over it one way or the other. So I'm alright with it.
Somebody made an interesting point too, and something I didn't consider because I'm an avid watcher and listener of JJ Redick's podcast. He'll be the most. This is to be the most analytical driven offense or philosophy that y'all probably have ever seen. I don't think nobody in y'all coaching history has a bigger or analytics has a bigger influence on them than JJ Redick. I feel like he's going to take a lot of things into account, offense and defense, and I'm interested to see how what his philosophy will be on y'all team. I think I heard one person say the emphasis on Anthony Davis, his jump shot. Because if you remember in the bubble, him and LeBron were just pretty good jump shooters, especially AD. His jump shot was just hitting a lot of game winner against Denver.
I remember that shot, but to me, he's not the kind of jump shooter I thought he was going to turn into. From like the years I've seen him in when he was on the Pelicans, I thought he was going to be I didn't think he was going to be a knockdown 3-point shooter, but I thought he was going to be able to get out there and hit some shots. But over the years, it seemed like that part of his game, he never expanded out. And even in mid range, I don't know. I'm not as big of a fan as I used to be as far as his shooting ability. I mean, he still got the form and still got the ability to do so, but I don't know. You know, I don't look too much into him being able to be a decent shooter.
I think that's something he should explore, especially with him getting older. I feel like it could preserve his game. Like we see Jordan Kobe, you go to the block when you get older because your athleticism is kind of dwindling. You kind of rely on your jumper to preserve your game. We see
especially somebody that's as injured as he is, you know.
Right. I think the jump shot should be a point of emphasis, especially like he should even experiment with more threes. Maybe you go from 1 attempt to 3 attempts a game. You know, you just never know how big of an impact they have on your game, like long term, as far as like preservation is concerned. Because I feel like one thing I will say that JJ is gonna try to usher in as far as like AD being a focal point moving forward, because we don't know how long LeBron has left. He could have 1 or 2 seasons left. I could see 2 max. And this is going to be AD ship. So, like, you got to have him a focal point. And I feel like that jump shot is how you unlock some of this stuff. But this was a goodie, bro.
Appreciate it.
We back, baby. We back. I appreciate it. Hey, this episode is going to be out soon. Hopefully, I can get out real soon. Hopefully, nothing with the Warriors will come to fruition. We got the draft coming up.
Yeah, man.
Got the draft coming up. We're going to get some on that. So, man, y'all have a blessed night. I appreciate y'all. Peace.
Yes, sir.